Morning. How we doing today? We got all kinds of stuff going on with the house. I've mostly been helping with that and not filming stuff because, well, it's hard to do. But I've got a XPO truck here. No idea what's on it. I don't think it's beans, although it could be. I do have some paper bags I'm waiting for yet. So we'll see. We're going to get him unloaded. It's a decent day out. Still cold, but we're going to go scout some fields here this afternoon. A few more beans and I think that's it. I had ordered some stock stuff. That's what them boxes that came the other day was. Those were the paper bags I needed. So I really wish that I could film stuff up here around the house and what's going on, because I think it's awesome and it's exciting and I'm sure you guys would enjoy it too, but I can't put the contractors or their subcontractors on camera, and so I'll do what I can when they're gone. I'll show you what we did today and how everything worked and stuff. But basically we're doing backfill and insulation around the foundation, the basement walls, and getting the drains in for the downspouts, sump pump, all that kind of stuff. So it's a good deal. Progress is being made here. We've got our drains put in all the way around where they need to go. That one's for the sump pump. That one starts over there and goes the other way, and getting it all backfilled, stone most of the way up, and then he's working on putting dirt on top. Started over there by the garage, starting to backfill. So I have gone around, picked up all the trash, stakes with nails in them, stuff that I don't want laying around here, and I know they'll bury it, but I'm being picky. So I picked all this stuff up. We're gonna haul it back to the woods, dump it on the burn pile, then we're gonna go scouting some fields. A little slow, my dump method here, but it works. It does have automatic lowering though. Okay, let's do a little scouting. So this field here is a cornfield, one of the ones we planted before the snow on that Sunday, the 18th-ish of April. And while you can't really see the corn from here, it is up. If you look over there, maybe you guys can't see it, but I certainly can. In that nice black dirt, it shows up a lot better, but the black dirt stays warmer, so it grows faster there. But the corn is up here. Look at this. Right there. Right there, right there, right there, right there. Nice and relatively even. It looks good. It's just kind of growing slow. We got a little yellow to it because it's been cold. That's not helping anything. But it's here. I can row it. It actually looks decent for as cold as it's been. I'm happy with this. For everybody that was telling me, not you guys, everybody being my agronomist, my sales reps, my every professional in the ag industry, the chemical reps saying don't plant because it's going to get cold and snow. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Kind of wishing I would have planted more. But we'll see. There might be some thin spots in spots in the field that aren't quite as good as what I'm seeing right here. But our early planted corn, it's here. It looks good. We're going to jump across the lane and look at some beans. Okay, here are some beans that were planted roughly the same time, maybe the 17th of April. Either way, they got snowed down, but they're not our ultra earlies. Those are on the other end of the field. I'm not seeing as much here. The beans are growing slower than the corn, although there's one right there. It's coming. There's one right there. So they're right here ready to push through. We just need some heat. It's so cold. We can't, oh, I broke that one off. We can't get anything to grow because it's been too cold. So, but this looks good. They're there. The ground's not super hard and crusty. They should push through it just fine. We don't have to worry about that. Yeah, they're there. Just like I said, it's just too cold. So right now today we're sitting at about 50 degrees. Corn and beans don't grow much when it's 50 degrees or less. And so we kind of judge stuff based on what we call heat units or growing degree days. And it's fairly easy to predict what stage your crops will be in based on how many heat units we have accumulated. And the way that is figured is if you take the high temperature from the day minus 50 degrees. So if the high is 60, minus 50, you get 10 growing degree days basically for the day. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And so I can't remember exactly how many it takes for corn to emerge, but something like 230-ish heat units for corn to get from seed to sprout shooting out of the ground. Beans clearly are a little bit longer because that corn is up, the beans are not really. So it takes a little bit of time, it takes a little bit of heat, and we just haven't gotten it. It is supposed to warm up towards the end of the week. Tomorrow's going to be chilly yet in the mid-50s, but then by Thursday and Friday we should be back up in the high 60s at least. 67, 68. I don't see a 70 in the 10-day forecast, but it was mid to upper 60s the whole time. So hopefully this stuff will keep moving a little bit. Sun's sort of out today. It's been on and off. Tomorrow and Thursday are supposed to be mostly sunny days. That also helps because you get some radiant heat coming off of that, and just it warms the ground up even if the air is a little bit cold. So it is drying off on top. You can see we still got some wet spots. They're damp on top, but it's dry in other areas. It's windy, which is helping. We just need some heat. How many times have I said that? That's the problem right now. It's the 11th of May and it's cold. All right, so we're getting into our early March planted soybeans here. And there they are in all their glory. They're alive and well and growing. And when we get some warm weather, the unifoliate leaves, these leaves here will start to unfold. You'll be able to row them a lot better. They will look a whole lot better in a week. But they're all here. Well, most of them are here. And they look fantastic. I mean, look at that stand. That's incredible. I cannot hardly believe it. And as cold as we've been, I mean, we've had frost risk for the last 8 nights in a row. We've got 2 more nights, although they're calling for lows of like 36 to 38. So I don't think these beans are at risk of dying from frost, but they're just not growing. So this is fantastic. I cannot believe these things survived this. After last year when we had that late frost, it was May 9th, about the same time last year, and I was shocked that my little bit of beans that I had planted early lived last year. And then you throw this at them this year where they got snowed on as they were coming out of the ground. We got down to 26 or 24 degrees the one night. We've had lows in the low 30s for the last 5 or 6 or 8 nights in a row, and they're all still here and alive. Like, this has given me enough confidence that next year, if we have the same type of ground conditions where it's fit to plant in March, especially the last 2 weeks of March, maybe instead of 17 acres, we'll plant 100 acres or maybe 200 acres. I don't know. I don't see how we could get much worse conditions than what we're getting the last 2 years, and the beans are living through it. So the risk is less and less every time I look at these beans. Here's some more of that same corn that we were looking at before, just a different spot in the field where we've got a little bit darker dirt, and you can really see it rowed now. It stands out against that darker background, and yeah, it's there. It looks good. It's just yellow, and that's a result of the cold weather. Certain nutrients are tied up at colder temperatures. I don't know if nitrogen's so much, but phosphorus particularly. Usually that shows up as purpling in the corn. I won't be surprised if as the next 2 or 3 leaves come out, we see that where they kind of turn purple, and that's why we put a heavy rate of phosphorus in our 2x2 starter so that it is right there when that seed germinates and it can get its roots into it and not have to go searching through the soil. It just has some phosphorus because our cold conditions tend to tie that up, and it stunts the early growth. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with this. It looks great. All right, I have switched vehicles because, well, I'm done with that trailer. Let's go scout some other fields and see how some of them other beans are coming up. I want to look at that Viantis treatment trial. Okay, before we start scouting, I have a rant. You guys see those wheel tracks? Do you see those tracks? They go all the way across there. They come out through my driveway, my new house driveway, go all the way up. I don't know who made those tracks. They go down there along the edge of the woods, and then they come back and they go that way. That infuriates me. Like, the field where they pulled into is fit up, ready to be planted, and now there's tracks through it. This field right here and the one I'm standing in are already planted. There is a growing crop out here. Dad pointed those out to me. He thinks that it was some of our hunters or people that think they have permission to coyote hunt or coon hunt or something, not our deer hunters who lease the property. Let me tell you, that ends, because if I figure out who it is, you've not only lost your privileges to hunt our ground, you've pretty much cost anybody else. There will be no more. If people can't respect our property and not drive on our growing crops, nobody's allowed. That's unacceptable. Those tracks are from a pickup, not a gator, not something light, a pickup. Somebody decided that it was okay to just drive their pickup out here across our growing crop. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's take a look at these beans. This was planted the day before the beans in the last field, not the March one, but the other beans out there. So they look about the same. We're just poking through. They're all right there, but not quite out of the ground yet. There's one right there. So good. They're close. They're coming. Everything looks fine. It's not crusted too hard for them to break through. They're not struggling. They're just not growing very fast. All right, so I've got two more things that I want to see, or two different situations, I guess. One is some of the later planted corn that I'd have to look up the exact date that it was planted, but it was that Tuesday and Wednesday that we had a couple weeks ago before it rained. It may have been, what, 2 weeks ago now? 2.5? Well, 2. I don't think it's been 3 weeks. Anyway, I want to see if that corn is coming or how it looks, and I want to see... there was some beans that were planted on Sunday a week and a half ago. I want to go look at those. Maybe I should do some mushroom hunting. Cold, wet. There's one. Perfect conditions, right? 50, 55 degrees. All right, so this field of beans was planted Sunday a week and a half ago. Ish. I thought it was the day I thought it was too wet to plant corn, but Phil came and looked later and decided he could plant a couple fields of beans. So he did this 30 acres and another 30 just around the corner. And I don't expect to be seeing these come up yet because, well, they were planted later. But I just was curious how close they are, and if I can find the row. Sorry, I'm looking for the row. Phil put those closing wheels on. Those spiked closing wheels, the one set was cast, the one set was the poly ones like I've got on the corn planter. And I was curious to see if I could tell a difference in those, but I can't find them. Well, anyway, let's just see where our beans are at here. Maybe. There's one. Or two. They got a ways to go yet. Definitely behind what we've been looking at. They're not right at the surface, but they are sprouted. Come on. Oh, shoot. There was one. Broken. Sprouted, pushing, long ways to go. Here's one of them rows. I'm right along the edge, but you can see the, yeah, you can see the dimples from it. I doubt they'll look much different, and the end rows isn't really the best place to dig and look. But yeah, there they are. Cool. Again, everything looks fine. We're in good shape. These ones are got a ways to go before they're coming up though yet. Dad still needs to get this one sprayed, so that was a question I've gotten a couple of times, is where we're at with our weed control herbicide applications. So all of the early planted beans, meaning the ones that were planted before the snow or right after when we were planting corn, have been sprayed. The only ones Dad's got to spray yet is this field and that other one that were just planted here a week and a half ago, and they're not close to coming up, so we don't have to worry about that yet. On our beans, our pre-emerge herbicide has to be sprayed before the beans come up. It can't be sprayed on the beans once they emerge from the ground. So we try and stay right behind the planter with the bean chemicals to make sure that we don't have to worry about that. On the corn side of it, I believe Dad has some of the corn sprayed, but not all of it. He's got the fields that are farther away, but we got 2 fields that are closer that he has not done yet. So the corn's got more flexibility. Our corn herbicide can be sprayed anytime up to the corn is maybe 12 inches tall. Now we want to get it on before that, otherwise you'll have weeds like crazy. But it doesn't have to be done before the corn comes up, so that's why we focus on the beans. Since I was driving by, I decided to stop in and look at this wheat field. If you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, this is the same wheat field that we were in that was showing some bleaching and some herbicide damage, mostly along the river over there, but even on these ends some. It has completely grown out of that, which is good. However, we do have some browning on the leaves, and I'm not 100% sure what that's from. It could be from the cold weather and a little bit of frost damage, nipping the ends of these leaves off, or it could be a little bit of fertilizer burn from when we sprayed the second shot of nitrogen on here a week and a half ago, or whenever that was, which is not great. But I don't think it'll hurt it too much. I'm going to pull one out here. So we've got, yeah, that leaf coming up is the flag leaf. Nope, we got one more coming yet. Is that right? I think we got one more yet. So this wheat's got a little ways to go. This was a little bit later planted than some of our other stuff, so yep, it's looking okay. Dad was going to spray some fungicide on it pretty soon, maybe even tomorrow, to help protect that leaf that's coming out there. He's already done some of the earlier planted stuff, so yeah, it looks good. About 2 months from now, we'll be here harvesting this field. Occasionally somebody asks me about the sprayer running through the crop and the sprayer tracks and stuff, and whether that's going to kill that crop. It is. Or maybe not kill it, but it's going to mash it down where it's not going to produce anything, and we won't be able to harvest it. But it's you know, the tracks are pretty skinny. That's why we put the skinny tires on when we did a couple weeks ago. And we like to, or it's more important to get the chemicals on and protect the wheat, whether that's a herbicide, a fungicide, an insecticide, fertilizer, whatever it is. It more than makes up for the little bit that we run over getting it out there and protecting the rest of the crop. So it is what it is kind of thing. Okay, and here is one of those later planted fields of corns that I said I wanted to come and look at. It's also one of the ones that Dad needs to spray. Also where Brock and I came and picked up rocks last week. So let's see how this one's looking. The ground is still nice and soft. We got very little crust on it, so I'm not too worried about stuff coming up. Look at that right there. Sweet. Sweet. Look at that. That's going to be poking through real fast. In fact, there's one right there that is starting to poke through. I was not expecting that. There, right there. There's another one. There's one. Pretty even. That's good. I don't see that one. We might have a skip there. There's one. Should be one right here. It's definitely still pretty muddy underneath. Yep, must have had a skip from the planter. But yeah, sweet. There's one. There's one. There's one. Excellent. Awesome. So overall, the crops we've got in the ground look okay. They look actually better than okay. They look great. We just need it to warm up so things can get going, keep growing. And I should have pushed harder when we were in the fields. But you never know how this cold weather is going to affect stuff. Sometimes it can really stunt the growth and make things come up uneven, which is not a good either. So ideally it would be 70 degrees. Your soil temperature would be 50 to 60 degrees and we'd go. But we don't always get that, do we? All right, well, everybody's gone from the house stuff today, so I'll update you on where we're at progress-wise. They have hauled load after load after load of pea stone in here. Unbelievable amount of stone. I don't know how many loads, but probably at least 15, maybe 20. I don't know, a lot. There's a lot of it in the base, or the bottom of the garage here, which they've got this all nice and leveled off and smooth and on grade where they want it. So next we'll lay some foam down and then mesh wire, because we're going to tie radiant floor heat runs through the garage here. We got a couple of stakes for floor drains. I guess next they'll put the floor drains in, because those got to be done before the foam goes down. So that'll go. There's a hole through the wall here for that drain that will run a pipe and tie in to our eave spouts drains there. They've got to level off the floor in the basement yet. I know they went through and cleaned off the footer, but that's got to get completely leveled off yet, or a little bit more work to do there. They filled in the front porch here relatively far. I think they're going to put dirt on top of this, they said. Reason being is they don't want the porch floor to heave if we get a frost or something, so they'll put some dirt in there, pour, and then it'll settle, and there'll be a little bit of an air gap under the porch, which is a good idea. So most of the backfill around the wall has been done. There's the foam. It's all done with pea stone up to this level, and then they're putting dirt on top of that around, so that we can, plant stuff and it will grow. Although that's not the best dirt in the world, but it'll have really good drainage all the way down, right down to that form of drain in the footer, and then that will come out through this wall right here. We'll get tied in. All is gonna work super awesome. We got window wells put in, filled in underneath there. This one, and then the one over here. This one sits a little bit lower because our ground level is going to be lower. This is not going to be the ground level. It's going to get graded off and pulled back a little bit. So I thought we could leave this down lower, and I can maybe be able to see out of it from our basement, but we'll see. And then he was working on filling in, back porch here, same thing, where they put a bunch of stone down and now covering it up with dirt in here. So it looks great. Used up most of a pile over there. I assume they will be back tomorrow, but we'll see. And then, the level drops off as we go over around this corner. I guess I should have jumped down there, but the drain goes out through my tile that was right there. But our dirt line is going to be much lower on this side of the house. The dirt will stay below that window, so there's no need for a window well there, and that was kind of the whole point of that nice big daylight window in our living area of our basement, or what will be eventually. So this dirt's going to get peeled back just a little bit more, and then we'll kind of slowly slope back up to the garage and slope back up to the back porch on this side. So lots of progress the last 2 days, which is awesome. It's cool to see stuff happening here. I had a nice limestone 411 driveway put in here. They covered it all up with pea stone, which sucks for driveways. It just smushes out of the way. So it's all right. We got a long ways to go. It'll all get scraped up, and there's a ton of it in there because we had to build that up about 2 foot. So I don't know if they're going to try and scoop a lot of that out or what. Probably whatever they need to, I guess. Okay, I'm heading home. Sun's come out a little more here this afternoon. Things are drying fast. We won't be in the fields tomorrow. I still don't think we will be on Thursday, but I'm not going to rule it out entirely yet. So tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow Brock will be here. I'm going to have him work on those hoses in our dike there, that hose that I got yesterday, and replacing all of that. The boys will be with me tomorrow, so we'll see how much I can do with them. And we're going to do some spraying. Dad's got some wheat to spray. Buddy of mine who does all the hay and straw, he's got alfalfa weevil, and so he wants us to spray about 85 acres of alfalfa with some insecticide for him. So I may help do that, although I don't really want the boys riding or around when we're doing insecticide. So we'll see how it all works out and what all we got else going on. They should be there working on the house, so maybe I'll just go down there and help with that again. I don't really know. We'll figure it out. But thanks for watching today, and if you have any questions and comments, leave them down below. We're getting closer to farming. We're getting closer. I'm so ready to be back in a tractor. So see you guys tomorrow.